good afternoon. You're joining us live for this month's episode of Science Stream. Welcome. We'll be starting our podcast in a bit. Meanwhile, please make yourself comfortable. If you have any questions for our guests, you're welcome to leave them in the comment section. See you shortly. Hello once again, especially to those who have just joined us. I'm Sean from Teik Kee, Penang's very own Science Discovery Center. Intermittent fasting is gaining popularity, not only due to practitioners successfully losing weight, but also its health benefits, which includes increasing growth of new neurons and protecting the brain from damage. Intermittent fasting is also all about when you eat with a few schedules available, and Dr. Dicky Teik Kee, a lifestyle medicine doctor from Penang Adventist Hospital, will help us understand more on intermittent fasting and its many health benefits in this month's episode of Science Stream. Dr. Dicky is a DOSH-registered occupational health doctor and lifestyle medicine doctor in Malaysia. He currently heads the Wellness Center at Penang Adventist Hospital. Having graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Physiology from the University of Toronto in 1984, Dr. Ng pursued his medical degree in Christian Medical College, Vellore, India. Since qualifying as a doctor in 1989, he has served in both West and East Malaysia in various capacities. During these years, he has played roles of physician, trainer, speaker, and teacher, and accumulated a vast knowledge of lifestyle and its relationship to health. It is now his mission to promote health and safety at every level of community and industries. He received his master's in occupational medicine from Perth and is currently actively involved in the preventive medicine and health promotion. And he also serves as consultant occupational health physician for Intel Malaysia. With a special interest in chronic lifestyle diseases such as diabetes, cancer, and coronary health disease, he is actively involved in NGOs and has been leading the Penang branch of Diabetes Malaysia since 1999, previously known as PDM. Without further ado, please join me to welcome Dr. Dicky to Science Stream. Welcome to Science Stream, Dr. Dicky. Thank you for agreeing to be with us today.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Sean, for the invitation. It is my honor to join you and to share a little bit of this knowledge to help the audience to become more familiar with what is intermittent fasting and how it can benefit us when you use it in the right way.
Okay, so throughout this program, we will be conducting some polls for our live audience to let us know their opinions. And the first poll that we have today is, have you ever tried intermittent fasting? Okay, so there's no right or wrong answer. Don't worry, this is not a test. So have you ever tried intermittent fasting? We're just collecting your opinion, yes or no. So join us on Facebook to participate in the live poll and click on one of the options below. Okay, don't worry, we won't be able to identify who answered what, not even us. Okay, so Dr. Dicky, what is intermittent fasting, and what are the differences between the various methods, the different times, and what are the benefits and also drawbacks of intermittent fasting?
Intermittent fasting, it is a way of eating rather than what of eating. It is about timing of eating, so a pattern of eating rather than a choice. So it can help us. If we see in the next few slides, we actually have a few different methods in intermittent fasting. Comparing or contrasting to what are the common diet. Some people actually will go for keto diet, some people will go for plant-based diet. Intermittent fasting is actually a timing of eating, a pattern of eating. So commonly there are three pattern of eating in the intermittent fasting. One, it is the daily method, a 16-8 method. 16-8, it is people eat 8 hours within the 8 hours of the 24 hours. And the other 16 hours, they will not have anything that contain calorie into the body. So this is also called the lean gains protocol. So it is 8 hours of eating. Within these 8 hours, they will eat 2 meals or 3 meals, and then from then on, it can be no more food until the 16 hours later. Of course, there are people who vary this ratio. And in the next slide, we can see that the next method is called the eat, stop, eat method. Eat, stop, eat method. This is for some people who feel that we will eat all that we want, eat normally, and then in 24 hours, we actually will either totally fast without any food or with very much fewer calorie. Okay, fasting doesn't mean absolute fast. Okay, fasting is just a reduction of calorie, reduction of calorie. So it can be a reduction in 1/3, 2/3, or absolute, or in any other way. Of course, if you do not reduce enough, it may not be very significant. So you have alternate day of eating and eating less, and normal eating and eating less. This is the eat, stop, eat. And we will go to the next one. It will tell us the other one is actually a 5-2 diet plan, 5-2 intermittent fasting plan. In that, uh, you have in a week, you have 5 days of eating normally, and you have 2 days of eating much lower with a specific level of reduction. For women, it is only 500 calorie in that day. For men, it's only 600 calorie. This one have to be significantly reduced compared to the eat stop eat, because it is fewer days of cutting down, or fewer days of fasting. So it will be more. So these are the three common types of intermittent fasting pattern or methods. Right. And intermittent fasting has a great advantage in that it is simple. To try to eat healthy, we think it is simple, but to eat healthy consistently over the 1 month, over a quarter, over the whole year, it can be very complicated, because eating healthy need quite a bit of planning. And then there are a lot of things, a lot of events that can derail us. Something like, you have you go for traveling and cruise, even though now, of course, during pandemic MCO lockdown, we do not have traveling, and we can't go to cruise. But when the pandemic is over, actually, more often than not, a lot of people will go for traveling, will go for cruise, or or in the weekend we will have activities, picnic. We actually also have gathering. We have birthday parties like that, and this actually tend to throw people off their diet plan. Intermittent fasting is a way very commonly popular for people to control their weight. So intermittent fasting become very easy. Talk about it doesn't talk about the choices. So you do not need to think, can this be eaten? Can this? Uh, do I need to avoid this or that? It just talk about the timing, and so there's only almost like, out of the three different eating intermittent fasting pattern, you just stick to one and you do it regularly. It become easy to stick to, instead of when you talk about food, there are so many choices. Yeah. So intermittent fasting is a very popular way. And the advantages, yes, there are quite a few advantages that we can see. If we say the advantages is actually when we start fasting, we actually our body actually will have changes in the time of plenty, or in the community of plenty where we are living in now. We tend to overeat macronutrients. We eat too much, so that many people, I can say that it is actually most people are overweight now in Malaysia. It's already more than 50% overweight or obese. So most people are having too much calorie. And intermittent fasting is a simple way of limiting calorie. And when we eat less, actually our body actually will have healthy changes. We have good hormone changes that help us to have higher level of growth hormone, and we actually will have better insulin sensitivity. I think one of the major problem in our community is that they are just getting diabetes is just getting too common, and it is my interest area that I really hope Malaysia, especially Penang, the incidence of the prevalence of diabetes will be indented by various ways of healthy living, healthy lifestyle. So intermittent fasting can be one way that for those who actually want a simplified way of dealing with eating too much. So it's easy for them to implement instead of trying to figure out, what I can eat, what I cannot eat. So it is just an eating pattern. So you only need to follow one rule, either 16:8 or 5:2 or eat, stop, eat. So you just continue to follow this one way. And there are evidence, at least in the research animal model, that if intermittent fasting prolong lives, at least in the animal models. But in the human being, I guess it is not so clear, because if we want to, because our lifespan is long, so it's very hard for us to show a person to continue this intermittent fasting eating method, because sometimes by the time researcher observe you, the researcher would have Kong out himself or herself, so he's not able to correct this, because the research had to be over a long span of time. But for a research animal that has short lifespan, they have found that actually intermittent fasting or calorie reduction actually found that it can extend the lifespan. So it is a way of uh, aging, slowing down aging. So these are all the advantages that can help us. Whether it is body biochemically, we can see that there is an advantage, and also it improve the longevity, and also the logistic, the simplicity in the logistic. So it makes it very easy. I will go to the next step on what is the downside. What's the downside of the intermittent fasting? Of course, it is not very easy to stay hungry. For those of you who have been fasting regularly during Bulan Ramadan, you know that the first week of the Ramadan fasting, it is not easy. People feel weak, the having difficulty in focusing, because when you are hungry, your stomach is crying out for attention, and our body is to designs against starvation, right? We need survival, and when you fast, it is almost like you are you are creating an artificial starvation. So when you cut down your calorie intake drastically, you are creating a situation of starvation in your body, and your body will cry out looking for food. And especially if you have food nearby, it's going to be a great challenge. Okay, besides being tired, you can feel irritable. You also can have headaches because of sugar getting low. Uh, and then when you eat less, if you do not choose enough high fiber food, you can have constipation. You just don't have enough to poo. And quite free, quite often we find that people who are fasting, when they open fast, if they do not understand themselves, they actually will overeat during the breaking of fast. So the person must plan very well, because this control is very, very important. And for intermittent fasting, it also can reduce the alcohol tolerance for people. And in some people, they actually can have dehydration. And we will move on to the next slide. So, who is suitable to have fasting? Intermittent fasting is not suitable for everybody. You need to try to understand yourself. You need to understand your psychology, because for those of you, for those of us who actually have existing medical condition, especially where eating timing and the medicine have to be properly planned for, actually it can become more complicated, right? So, as for example, people with diabetes, if you are already on insulin, or you're on some tablets, so it can actually complicate your eating. So when you do not eat, actually your sugar will fluctuate, and then you will need a proper way of arranging your injection or your tablet. And so this become complicated. You will need to work with your healthcare professional. You should not by yourself choose this method without consulting your healthcare professional. One good example is the people living with diabetes. The next condition is actually people with eating disorder. If you already have difficulty in managing your eating, whether it is in extreme eating, uh, 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 overeating, or anorexia nervosa. So this condition that can actually be very dangerous, because your relationship with food is not the normal one. So intermittent fasting can swing you one direction or the other. It can make you suddenly eating much less, which actually can cause health problem, or it can make you eat a lot more and also cause you problem. So people with eating disorder, when you are already having some follow up with the eating disorder expert, so it's important you avoid this method of uh, dieting pattern. People who are underweight, it is very obvious. People who are underweight should not do intermittent fasting. Uh, when you are already underweight, if you do intermittent fasting, it actually can change your body chemistry to become harmful to your body. And of course, there is this other picture that show overweight obese ladies. Uh, she's not only obese, but she's pregnant. So people pregnant, even though you are overweight, obese, you should not do intermittent fasting. The reason is actually you eat to supply a consistent food supply for the baby. And this intermittent fasting can fluctuate the supply of food, which actually can affect the growth of the baby in the womb. And if the fluctuation is too high, it can endanger the life of the baby. So it is important that you should not go intermittent fasting. So of course there are many other medical conditions which actually may be suitable, maybe not. So if you are already on a follow-up with some doctors, it is wise you discuss with the physician. However, I recognize that many doctors and physicians, if not most, are not familiar with discussing diet. Then maybe it is wise for you to ask for a referral to talk about this dieting plan with a dietitian or nutritionist. So dietitian and nutritionist, they are the professional that has been well trained to discuss diet plan and healthy way of eating with people, whether it is just a healthy people in the generally or people with clinical condition with illnesses. So we will come to our last slide that tells us intermittent fasting is actually just a way of eating, and it is sure to suit some people. It's simplified, but it is not suitable for all. I think some people, and many, if not most, not suitable. So because now we at least have 20% in our population having diabetes. Okay, so at least there's one condition that's pretty obvious. 20%, we have a good statistics from our Ministry of Health. 20% people in our community, adult community above 18 years old, have diabetes. So these people are generally not suitable. If they want to do such intermittent fasting, they really need to be under supervision of a dietitian or a nutritionist and with the doctors. So learning for us to eat more healthily, to control diet, it's good for us to have a totalistic view of eating. Not only just about the eating timing, but also the quantity of eating, the choices, and even methods of cooking. And not only so, we need to also have some understanding of our own mindset, our own psychology. And all these things will help us to have a better way of managing our health. And one other way is actually join support group. Join support group like Diabetes Malaysia Penang branch. We are a support group to help the diabetics to live a more enjoyable life. We will help the diabetics to connect with each other so that they can support one another. Or of course, you can ask for professional help, which is actually professional guidance also is a lot better in guiding you to the right path. And you also can actually take some health courses in this matter. There are some internet platform that are free. There are free nutritional courses that you can learn about how your body function. But I understand that there are many people who are living a busy life and want to have a simpler life. So probably getting a professional help from dietitian, nutritionist, or from lifestyle medicine doctor can be a simpler way, or joining a support group rather than trying to study. But for those people who have the time, you are already semi-retired, you are already retired, so it might be worthwhile for you to find some platform. I can introduce you. One platform is alison.com, alison.com. So this is a platform where you can take nutritional courses for free to understand how your body works. then with the knowledge you acquire, you will have control on what to do, and that will help you to achieve a healthier life. With that, I think we can open for question. Right, Sean. So or Thomas, we can have question. The poll tells us that 40% have tried intermittent fasting and 60% have not tried. All right, so I think that's very interesting. So I think we have quite a substantial number of people who are familiar with intermittent fasting, at least experientially. I hope that they are I hope they have a good experience, and maybe they can point out what are the pros and cons in their own experience, how it helps them, and how it are they still continuing this intermittent fasting. Do we have other question? Intermittent fasting can be a very good way, but I have patient, I have experience with patient where actually they I have a patient, when you have early diabetes, actually when you are not on medicine, type 2 diabetes have to keep it simple, there are type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is where actually the person is usually thinner and need to be on insulin injection. So these type of people are definitely not suitable for intermittent fasting. Type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes in the early stage where you do not need to take medication, or you are just only pre-diabetes, when you are not on any diabetes medicine, definitely no insulin injection, then you actually can try intermittent fasting. Okay, try intermittent fasting. However, you must understand the method of intermittent fasting. You should still try to eat healthier instead of having eat all you like and all you want, right? Whether it is 16-8 or 5-2 or eat, you still need to have some kind of knowledge. In my opinion, you should not totally depend on this eating pattern. You need to have some knowledge on eating, because the reason is because for those of you who have observed our uh, Muslim compatriot, our Muslim friends in the society, during in this past maybe 20-30 years, when actually Ramadan bazaar is a common thing. So those who have been fasting for in the Muslim way is fasting almost 12, 13, 14 hours. When they break fast in the Ramadan bazaar way, they buy a lot of oily food, and you will find that actually over 1 month of bulan Ramadan, they actually gain weight. They actually gain weight. They has no weight loss. Instead of weight loss, they actually gain weight. So you can find that when you have deprivation, when you eat much less calorie, so during the breaking fast, there must be a good method. A conventional method is actually to eat very light, during the breaking of fast. Right, breaking of fast, I believe they only eat something simple like a few dates and water. One thing for intermittent fasting who are not religious based, actually there's no limit of drinking water, plain water. So during the 16-8, you can drink a lot of water. a lot of water, and this water will help to hydrate yourself. But because the Muslim way is an absolute fast, so that actually is a different pattern. So we will need to drink water, and that actually will help. That actually will help you to manage the 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 biochemistry changes. Okay, so breakfast, the right way of breaking fast is important. So intermittent fasting is when you have this intermittent fasting, so the right way will help your body not to go extreme. So I would still say that even though conventionally intermittent fasting actually tells us is simple, you do not need to know the complicated way of healthy eating. However, you still need to know some simple way. Don't eat so-called heavy. When you break fast, don't eat heavy, because at breaking fast, if you eat heavy, it actually still can cause you to absorb a lot. The other thing about intermittent fasting is this 16-8 method. A lot of people actually they actually tend to skip breakfast. They because of maybe social eating with family, or because of work they need to eat out with customer, so they tend to have a dinner, whether it is at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Then they will drag till the next day 12 noon only they start. So skipping breakfast, the 16-8 in skipping breakfast. This is not as good a method as skipping dinner and having a breakfast and having a late lunch. This is 16-8, because breakfast does give a lot of metabolic advantages to the body. Someone actually highlighted that they had tried intermittent fasting, but her weight did not her weight did not reduce. So what's the reason for the no weight reduction? Well, intermittent fasting, because you do not really track your calorie intake. So to cause a weight reduction, you need to create a calorie deficit, right? It's like a bank account. Of course, if our bank account accumulate more and more money because our income is uh, higher than our expenses, that's a good thing, right? But if it is our calorie account, not our cash account, it's a calorie account. Our calorie account is run the opposite way. So if you keep having calorie excess versus calorie expense, that is your calorie expense is less. Therefore, whatever you have accumulated, you might have accumulated 1 million, and but every day you only spend 50,000, and then you are taking in 50,000. Okay, say intermittent fasting. So you every day we will take 50,000. So a week you take 35,000. You take 35,000. Um, and now you go intermittent fasting. So your 5-2, say you use 5-2. So your 50,000 become you take in 5 days. Each day you take 10,000. You still take 50. You still take the 50,000, right? And even though the other 2 days you eat less, but because you compensated for the cutting down of your food, so in the end you did not create a calorie deficit. That is a simplistic way of looking. And the other reason that I highlighted to you about uh, our our metabolic rate, our is like our spending of money, our spending of our calorie. You have about 7 to 10% advantages if you eat breakfast. If you eat breakfast, you have advantages, extra additional 7 to 8 to 10%. It is not a lot, but because of but this 7% advantage can become a lot over days and times. So that is actually very important for those who do not create much advantage. So see, if you only create a 1% difference a day, in 365 days, you actually can have 365% difference, which actually will create some weight loss, right? So it is so it will be helpful for you if you if you if you would do the if you will take this advantage. The same goes for exercise. Some people, because of intermittent fasting, they're hungry, so they cannot go for exercise. So when they go for exercise, their appetite is very good, so they eat back all the calorie. So that actually may just put back all your calories, so it doesn't help you to create the deficit. So to a certain extent, you will still need to have some knowledge on healthy choices. Yeah, I think that will be sensible for us. Sean, I cannot hear you because you are muted.
We can continue to exercise, but we need to be careful how we eat now. But during the fasting period, so does it mean that we need to exercise when it is the eating part, or is it okay for us to exercise during the fasting period as well?
During fasting, I think probably those people who are not used to fast, actually you may not really do exercise. You know, when we do exercise, we want to sweat it out. So people who are not used to fasting, I think they will have challenge in doing exercise, because it will make them hungrier, you know, because they need to create. But if you are able to, of course, it will burn better, because at the fasting, your sugar level is low, so your body will start kicking in to burn fat, right? So because of that, that's why actually when you exercise in the morning before breakfast, it does help to burn your fat better. And of course, also for those who, you realize that those who do uh, long exercise, okay, is in time, right? You do long distance run, or even do hours of hiking or cycling, or 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 walking, you'll find that these people are thinner. The reason is because when they walk beyond 30 minutes, then the body will kick in, starting to burn fat. So if you only keep to the minimum of exercise, uh, I think some of the doctors will tell you, you must exercise, you must exercise. So people, so you ask them, doctor, so I should exercise. So what exercise is good? Walking. So how long do I need to exercise? 30 minutes. And most busy people probably just meet the minimal requirement. 30 minutes, it hasn't start burning your fat yet. It only just make you healthy. It makes you healthy, okay? Don't think it as a wasting of time. Exercise of 20-30 minutes actually make you healthier, but it hardly kick in the burning of fat. So if it help you to lose weight, is because 30-minute exercise does increase your metabolic rate. So over 24 hours, it might help you to burn some fat, but it won't kick in the burning of fat yet in that 30 minutes.
Okay, so all right, we will have our next poll for today. Okay, the next poll for today will be: do you find it difficult not to eat for long periods of time? So just now, Dr. Dicky mentioned that, sometimes we need to go for birthday parties, or events or wedding dinners last time. So do you find it difficult not to eat for long periods of time? So here we have the Lean's gain one is 16 hours you're not supposed to eat anything. You can drink, but you're not supposed to eat anything. So let us know if it's difficult for you not to eat for long periods of time. Okay, yes or no. Dicky, you did mention that there's a slight difference if we skip either dinner or breakfast. Can we mix it up? So can we like certain days we skip breakfast, certain days we skip dinner, and can we have a mixture of 16/8, eat stop eat, and also the 5/2? Can we mix it up, or do we need to keep to a regimen?
I I would think that it is not wrong to mix up, because in the end it is the calorie in and calorie out that matters. This is how much we put in and how much we spend that matters. However, I think we are creature of habits, so you will find that you will do things a certain way. It is like for those of you who are in the Bayan Lepas or in the free trade zone, electronic, everybody is going toward automation. What is automation? How can we apply automation in ourselves? It is actually habits, right? You will find the forming habit make you efficient. You do not need to think and choose. So, so in general, I think when you keep changing the IF pattern, I think you yourself will be confused, and it will be hard for you to keep track whether you are creating a calorie deficit. So it's better to be consistent. But like you say, I think biochemically your body, I think, probably will not find it much difference. The important thing is actually the breakfast. When you after a long sleep, a body rest, you need to eat food rather than starting empty. It's better for you to have a longer break before you sleep, because if you have food and your body is still having your blood is still having high level of sugar and lipids in your blood, and you go to sleep, there's a tendency to store it into your fat cell, and that actually will go against you trying to lose weight. So it is better for you to have a period of time of your last meal and your sleep time. Okay, so that's therefore the gap is better to be in. So at the night before you sleep, and actually even sleeping is also better to be sleeping at the dark, to follow the sun, the sleep cycle, the circadian, because our body chemistry, I think for those of us with, I think with some Chinese background or Indian background, I think we all believe that our body has a clock, and it is, I, the Western medicine also believe, and actually it has a name called circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm. You'll find that majority of people are used to this normal sun up down kind of circadian rhythm, rather than being a night owl of working night shift. So this normal sunrise sundown kind of circadian rhythm is better for our body biochemistry. Yeah, it will
Okay.
help us to control the
We have the results from poll already. Okay, so we have 67% say they have trouble, they find it difficult, and 1/3, so 2/3 find it difficult. So I
Well,
guess
I still think that, well, it is quite amazing. The one third can manage it well. The two third, but it's normal, So the one third, how do they deal it? I think maybe they can share with people of their good experience. But for the two thirds, I think if you can try water. Number one, water. You can use water, and the drinking water timing help you can help you. The other thing is actually in your food. some amount of knowledge on dealing with a lot of people worry about high carbo diet. I think this using the terminology of carbo and high protein and high carbo, high fat is not a wise way for non-technical people, for people who are not in the nutritional field, not in the dietetics field. It's probably it should be easier for you to handle uh, food terminology. Food terminology. Okay, so it's better for you to take high water content food. Okay, what are high water content food? There are juicy fruits. Okay, watermelon, uh, well, even papaya and pineapple, they are quite juicy. Oranges are quite juicy, and um, however, personally, I feel that apple and banana can be quite filling and low calorie and quite filling. So more than watermelon. If I take watermelon, it's like a little bit better than plain water only. So if you find that your 16 hours is a little bit too tough to handle, say for example you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock and your second meal is at 4 p.m. and you find that by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. you have tough time, you have tough time. It's hard to go to sleep, right? It's hard to go to sleep when you're hungry. Well, definitely, intermittent fasting is not suitable for children. When they are growing up, it is not suitable for them because they will be hungry, they cannot study, and that's bad. So, one option is not for you to drink Milo, right? It's not for you to drink Milo because Milo is high fat. So, it's better for you to eat banana or eat a piece of apple, because it is high water content and it's somewhat filling. And it will be better for you even though it is a small meal. A very small third meal, which is a modified intermittent fasting, maybe only 12 hours fasting, is better than you switch and do a late dinner and a break and skipping breakfast of 16:8. I think that will be a preferable. So use high water content food, uh, and the other one is high fiber food. High fiber food, uh, like a good example is raw oat. Raw oat, raw oat waffle is powerful. Raw oat waffle and some peanut butter. Well, peanut butter is on the higher calorie side, but also is very filling because I think people also know that you need some protein and some oil to get this satisfaction. We call satiety. When we do not have satiety, we have challenge in holding on. So satiety actually is more in high fiber food or high fat and protein food. So, but high fat and high protein food actually have high calorie. So it's always better for you to have a high fiber food like whole grain product. If you eat barley, you boil barley, you let your kids drink the barley chew, liang liang, very good, very healthy. And you eat the pearls, you eat the seed as your dinner, or as your lunch. It is a wonderful whole grain food that will give you fullness. And barley is a wonderful food to lower your cholesterol. You try it for 2 weeks. If you have high cholesterol, guarantee your cholesterol will come down. Yeah, and it's very filling. Okay, so so some knowledge on food actually will make your journey of IF more manageable. And maybe it is easier for those of you who have challenges in handling the hunger is to have a third small meal. Okay, is to have a third small meal to modify your IF into 12, 12, But the last meal before sleep, try to have your gap between your last meal to sleep at least 2, 3 hours. The nearer to sleep, the smaller the meal. Really, it may end up to be just one banana. right? One banana. If you are just 1 hour before sleep, or you really cannot sleep, just get up and eat one banana. Yeah, and hopefully that actually satisfies you enough.
So just ease into it lah. So we
Yes.
shouldn't have be too aggressive and start straight. If let's just say we do have trouble, so it's better that we ease through it so that we can maintain it as well, I suppose.
Yes, actually, Sean, you are very right. A consistent long-term program will really help. We need to be patient, but because we are living in a very fast-paced society, so all the advertisement teach us to be impatient. We want everything fast, instant. We want instant noodle. We want instant reply. We want quick service. So I think, however, our body just don't change so fast. And if you have a very fast change, you'll find that you will not feel so good. That's one possibility. The other possibility, you will not look so good. And your intention is not just the weight number, right? Your intention is to look good, at least among your peer when the wedding come, or when the Chinese New Year gathering reunion come. You want to look good among your peers. So I think keep that in mind. I think that is more important than just having a better number. From 80 kilo, I want to strike it to 70 in 3 weeks. uh, yeah, that kind of weight swing actually, uh, in the body, when you come to really clinical measurement, you will not be better, because your biochemistry, your 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 this visceral fat can become a lot more because of the weight swing. Even though your weight may be lower, but actually biochemically you are not better. I have a friend who actually, a new diabetic, type 2 diabetes. He actually tried this intermittent fasting, but he lost quite a lot of weight, but it just wouldn't bring him to reverse the diabetes. Now medically, it is proven in the UK, United Kingdom, Newcastle upon Tyne. They actually have published a clinical paper in Lancet to show that type 2 diabetes, uh, probably more than 50% of people, if you lose 15% of your weight, you can reverse your diabetes. You can reverse your diabetes. Well, at least probably about 50% of these people can, if you lose 15% of your weight. Of course, this has to be people who are fat. If you are already thin, even though you are labeled as type 2 diabetes, you can become trouble. A 50 kilo, if you lose 15%, you will become bamboo. Hokkien say teko, no? So it's not good. But if you are 80 kilo and your height is only 170, like me, and 80 kilos, if you lose 15%, you are 60, you are 66. You are still pretty good. You are still pretty good. Your BMI is still around 24. So, well, that is still okay. That is still okay. You will not be too thin, even though maybe your peer will say, "Wow, hey, Dicky, you have lost a lot of weight. Are you sick? Are you sick?" You know. But if you lose the weight over, say, 6 months, 15%, it's a bit fast, but it can be healthy. Not in 3 weeks, okay. In 3 weeks, 14 kilos is a lot. 15% is a lot in 3 weeks. But over 6 months to a year, uh, uh, without guidance, with guidance, I think, I think 3 months to 6 months, it may be possible. Yeah. So if you want to factor it and design it yourself, you can reverse your diabetes. However, if you are on medicine, you need to work with a dietitian, nutritionist who are familiar with guiding you. And then you need a doctors that are willing to adjust your medicine downward. Otherwise, you will experience a lot of side effect of the medicine to make you so unwell that you are not functional.
Okay, so we'll have the last poll for today. Okay, so after hearing all this from Dr. Dicky, which would you consider trying? Right? So we have the three methods: 16-8 method, right? The lean skin one, or the eat stop eat, or the 5-2 diet, right? So would you choose any of these, or you will still not choose intermittent fasting? Okay, right? So let us know. 16-8, eat stop eat, 5-2, and then you won't consider intermittent fasting at all, right? So just choose any of the options below, and then we will discuss your answers later. Dr. Dicky, um, you did mention during your presentation that you will get weak when you start the intermittent fasting. So now that we are in a pandemic, uh, is it safe to start intermittent fasting now? Will it make us more vulnerable to getting sick, or not being able to fight the virus in case we do unfortunately contract it?
Intermittent fasting in the short term actually surprisingly increase your immune system. Okay, improve your immune system. That's because actually in our society of plenty, overeating actually does make our immune system lower, especially if you eat very high sugar food, refined processed food, Maggi, kway teow, biscuit, all this pastry. Actually, it suppress, and oily food also is suppress our immune system. So when you reduce the food, actually it, it improve your immune system. So and whenever we fall sick, you realize that we actually lose appetite. It is a natural body response to reduce, to conserve the energy to fight the virus or the infection. So short-term fasting actually improve your immune system. However, if you fast longer than 4 5 days, actually your immune system can be impacted. So intermittent fasting, whether it is 16-8 or 5-2 or the eat stop eat, if you do it correctly, actually it improve your immune system.
So it is, there's quite a popular saying, maybe in the Western countries, that you feed a cold, you starve a fever. So I guess what you're saying is naturally our body will tell us not to eat. That's why we lose the appetite. But I'm sure our parents will tell us you need to eat something. You need to eat something. To I guess get the proteins in so that you can create antibodies to fight. So, any truth in
I think that, yeah, I think that the thing about the saying about what is it, feed the cold and starve the fever, eh? Yeah, I think these are all true lah, but with the technical knowledge, you can follow your body. Your body, the way I look at it is actually even fever is a body natural response to deal with the infection. You do not need to artificially suppress it if it is not too high. It is not go beyond say 39 or 40 degrees Celsius. You can allow it to go up. You can manage it by using water, uh, drinking water, because if you keep drinking water, you will start passing out urine, and when you have fever, you will actually pass out warmer urine, and if you can sweat it out, actually you will find that your fever is gone. I think that is much easier. All right, so we have the poll result. So
yeah
16-8 is is a
majority
preferred.
choose 16-8.
Yeah, it's a
No one wants to choose eat stop eat because I guess they can't tahan the whole day not
yes,
eating.
yes. I
Uh,
think that's a
and a smaller
true.
percentage
Yeah,
5-2.
five two. Yeah,
We still do have people who not keen to try intermittent
yeah.
fasting.
Yeah, I think 16-8 is easier because you are consistent. You're consistent, so you can modify the if you have a challenge of hunger pang, you can, because I encourage people to eat the breakfast. You should eat the breakfast because of the biometabolic advantages. Metabolic advantages of 5 to 7% can be very significant. You can, if you imagine you can take extra 5 to 7%, it's quite enjoyable. So we do not want the diet to become very unpleasant. So you can have a modified for those people in the beginning having challenges of hunger pain. You can have a very small third meal to make it a modified a 12-12, 12-12. But the majority of the food is on the first two meal, and the third one, I think it helps. The only challenge is, of course, I think in your socializing. If you want to eat with friends, generally we have function in the dinner, so I think that will be a challenge. But I think that's something for us to change our culture gradually, so that our function will be moved to lunch or even breakfast. It's a bit hard to imagine. Your wedding instead of wedding dinner, you have wedding breakfast. Or wedding lunch. I think there are people.
Yeah, lunch quite getting popular also.
Yes, I think that is a healthier.
Yeah, Kenny Roger Ken has thought. He says that for working people, it's easy to skip breakfast if want to try the 68 one.
True.
You can have the last meal at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's true. Except that you lose the advantage of the metabolic advantage, which I found my friend, even though he lost quite a lot of weight, he couldn't reverse his diabetes as well as those people who have done better way.
Okay, so looks like we need to wrap things up. Thank you so much, Dr. Dicky, for spending your time with us in the past hour. We thank you for your sharing, and also hope you and everyone at Penang Adventist Hospital stay safe and healthy always.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, everyone.
That's all we have for today. Thank you for being with us since 3 p.m. We'd like to thank Teik for sponsoring this episode of Science Stream. See you again next month for another episode of Science Stream. Meanwhile, stay safe, stay fit, and stay healthy.